Share with you how to calculate the sample size using G-Power. So first of all, I'm going to explain that there are many other ways for us to determine the sample size calculation, particularly for quantitative study. So thereon, I will use an example to demonstrate how to use the G-Power software to calculate the sample size. So generally, there are many approach that we can use to determine the sample size for quantitative study. So one of it is that we can use a sample size calculator that is free and available online. Other than that, we can also use the statistical rules recommended by Hare and et al. In 1998, of which this approach uses the ratio of sample size of 20 to 1. Other than that, we can also use the argument from researchers such as Koch and Hadaya in 2018. So this paper that discussed how to calculate the minimum sample size using the inverse square root and gamma exponential method. So for today's purposes, I'm going to share with you how to use the G-Power software. So for you to use the software, you need to cite this citation, and this software is available free online. Okay, so before we use the G-Power software, let me explain a short one with you, the sample that I'm going to use. Okay, so this is one of the paper that I have published. So in this paper here, as you can see here, I have 5 independent variable and 1 dependent variable. So in other words, there are 5 predator predating one outcome. So in this study, I use structural equations modeling, particularly using the approach of partial least square structural equations modeling. After I determine the sample size, I use SmartPLS 4.0 to run my analysis. Okay, so now let's us move on to see how to use the G-Power software to calculate our sample size. So for us to do that, so first of all, we need to get the software downloaded. You can go to Google and search for G-Power calculator. Okay, so then this is what you will see. So you can go to this website, G-Power. Okay, so this is the original website. So you scroll down, you will see that there is the options for you to download. Of course, which version that you're going to download is depends on your device. Are you using Mac or are you using Windows? So in this case, I'm using Windows. So therefore, I scroll to downwards here. You will see that these options available. Okay, so for today's demonstrations purpose, I actually already downloaded the software. So right, so this is the window for G-Power software. You can see here, this is G-Power 3.1.9.7. This is the latest version. So there are a few tabs here. Okay, so we have file, we have edit, right? So file, definitely, if you would like to save the output and then put it in your report. So then this is one of the way. All right, so we can also view. So currently this is how it look like. I can change the view, like for instance, grid view. Okay, but I prefer the original one. So that is your own preference. Okay, next to this here, we have tests. So here we'll show you a number of tests that can be performed by using G-Power. Okay, then next we have the calculator, of course, and then this is the help button. All right, so these are the way that you can choose the test function, and alternatively, you can also choose here. So based on the example that I showed you just now, I'm going to use F-test. After you have clicked F-test, the statistical test that next to this test family options will give you another drop-down list. So for today's purposes, based on the example that I show you, I'm going to use linear multiple regression, fixed model R-squared deviation from 0. So in this case, assuming that I have not collected my data, so I would like to calculate how much sample is required for me to have statistical significance. So therefore, I will choose the first option as in a Perry compute required sample size. Okay, so of course, if you press this, there are a list that's come out. So for our case, assuming that we have not conducted the study, so we want to know how many samples are required. So then I'm going to choose the first one. So in this case here, for the effect size, when you click on this effect size here, you'll see that there are number of options that you can choose. We have f square equals to 0.02, which is considered small, f square equals to 0.15, consider medium, and then f square 0.35, consider large. For our social sciences research, most of the time it is recommended to put 0.15, which is medium. So with text, I remain the sample, the effect size for the convention effect size as 0.15 in our case here. Okay, then for the alpha error probability here, generally we'll choose 0.5. Okay, oh, sorry, 0.5. Okay, and then for the power here, I will leave it at default, and sometimes there are researchers who like to choose 80. Okay, so for today's demonstrations purposes, I leave it as 95. And just now, based on the example that I show you, I have 5 predator. So therefore, I'm going to choose this 5. So after I have all these parameters set, okay, I'm going to click calculate. So then based on this input that I've put in here, it means that I need to have 138 responses in order to produce an effect size which is consider median 0.15, and with the alpha error probabilities of 0.05 and with the power of 95. So then I need to have 138 complete responses in order to have statistical significance. Right now, so we can actually also play around here. So assuming that I'm going to change the effect size to say 35, which is considered large. Okay, so if I'm going to change it to 35, you will see that when I others parameter I remain the same, when I calculate, right, you see that the total sample size actually reduces. So that's why it is often recommended that we take the moderate, okay, or the medium effect size in this case, right? So then I have 138. So you can also play around with this. So assuming that I want to have 80% statistical power, all right, so just now we have 138 responses, right? So with this change in the parameter, we actually need less. Okay, so of course the higher power is better. Then of course when you need to have higher power, that also means that you need to collect more complete responses. Okay, so I stick it back with here. So then this is how we can do it. So now assuming that you are not very sure of how to use this G Power software. So there is this manual that is available in this website that I have just shown you. So you can also download this. You can also download this manual, and then you can go through it yourself. Okay, so maybe let me show you where is the manual I've downloaded. All right. So just now what I have shown you here is using one of the approach, which is this F test, where I have the multiple regression where deviation from 0. Okay, so this is what we have done just now. So remember, just now we have the alpha and then we have the effect size. So here is the detailed explanation for it. So I hope this video of using the G Power software is helpful for your analysis. So with that, I end this demonstrations here. Okay, all the best in your studies and in your calculations of determining the sample size. Thank you.